Right, next investigation. Now, this one's a very bad Psy Op, right? The latest Psy Op. And when you see the video footage of the bloke reading the statement out, it's laughable. It's absolutely laughable, right? But this is what it is, right? Ahmad Al-Ibrahim, who dreamed of being a doctor, right? Now we know that sort of meme about doctors, engineers, and scientists, right? So this is like straight at the bargain basement of psyops, like, right? Killed after an altercation with Alfie Franco, right? Now here's your 7 straight away, and here's your 2 threes straight away, right? So you know what it's about. And straight away, right? Franco, right, is the Spanish fascist, dictator, right? And is connected to an African colonial army, right? So straight away you're into a demonization of white people yet again, right? Connecting the fascist idea and the colonialism into Africa idea, right? With this kid who was supposedly killed a Syrian, right? He's accused of stabbing a Syrian, right? Which again, relates directly to the Franco-Syrian War. Right? So it's a possibility that what they're trying to do is actually entice people to commit altercations on the streets or whatever. That's possible. As you see, Franco-Syrian War between Ottoman territories, tensions in the region. Right? So this is again, it's a very well thought out psyop. This stuff doesn't just happen. They've got teams of intelligence groups, probably trained at Eton, etc., Oxford and all this, to come up with these psyops. Right? See there the 7 again, right? So Franco-Syrian War definitely is being alluded to in this psyop, right? Drug-fueled thug, which is in fact an Indian word, right? Who stabbed Syrian refugee who innocuously brushed past his girlfriend, right? Now, as I say in these psyops, every little part is thought through to a certain degree. Some of them will be young. Some of the intelligence people who come up with it will be quite young, others will be quite old, right? So you can have a mix of references and things like that, right? So basically you got the Alfie, right? And you got this brushed past, right? So your Alfie, which is again very famous movie about a womanizer. The idea of Alfie is totally to do with womanizing. Notoriously so, And actually, in the movie, what happens is, at the end of it, he's got one of them pregnant. Like he's womanizing about 6 different women or something, right? And at the end of it, it turns out he's got one of them pregnant, right? If you know the movie, right? Now another relatively famous TV show, right? Of in British, in British culture is Brush Strokes. Now basically this is similar to the Alfie, right? In that it's about a womanizer. A womanizer who, he never settles down. He's womanizing with different women and all this, right? So again, you're talking about the brush up against idea in this psyop, right? So again, what they're doing is they're demonizing certain things, obviously being white, and associating that with fascism, as is the usual way now, right? But they're also demonizing the fact of, because the story in the psyop is that his girlfriend had been insulted or something by these 2 Syrians, right? So he stabbed one and then threw it or something, right? So basically, they're demonising the idea of having heterosexual relations, right, with women that obviously result in babies, right? So as we know, the aim of the game is basically to replace the British demographic with the newcomer demographic, right? And they really wish to discourage the native Britons from having babies, right? As you see, all the propaganda against heterosexual ideas and for pro-gay ideas, right? Which are aimed directly at white people, basically. Interestingly, is a James Saxon, which may again be another little hidden code what to put in, right? Again, right, notice how he's got a little moustache, right? Look how it says Evil Franco, you know. Even when you get normal ones of murdered, like when they had the Southport killer, right? They didn't say evil, you know. So again, this is sort of reserved for the, let's say the white British ones, right? I mean, that's that's obviously a motive in that. That's unusual to see in a press report, evil. But of course, all the sympathy is supposed to be for the aspiring doctor type idea, which is ridiculous, right? But as I said, notice the little moustache, right? And with a little moustache, right, it basically becomes the Begbie character who the transporter, whose name is Franco Begbie. So Franco Begbie. Of course, this character is a knife-wielding psychopath, in these movies. So you've got all them factors, right, in this Psy Op. This is the statement that's released, right?
Ahmed was a 16-year-old child when he was brutally murdered in Huddersfield town centre in April this year. He'd come to Huddersfield and England for a better life. He was due to enrol at school and college, and he was looking forward to becoming a doctor. Franco deliberately took a knife out on that day and brutally stabbed him in a busy town centre. He was due to enrol at school and college, and he was looking forward to becoming a doctor.
So that ties into the doctors, engineers and scientists meme, right? So it's basically a joke, there's a hell of a difference between wishing to be a doctor when you're 16 years old and then actually becoming a doctor, God knows what age or whatever, 28 or something, So I mean, straight away he's going to become a doctor. He's looking forward to becoming a doctor. He'd arrived in the country 3 weeks ago and he was going to be a doctor already, So it's ridiculous. Total Psy Op, and again tying in the wall of cotton stuff, demonising whites and trying to gain sympathy for obviously these illegal or legal whatever immigrants that are coming in, I mean, just laughable, laughable. And seeing the idea they innocuously brushed past when they show some of the footage, which is all cut to bits, right? But clearly the footage shows the two asylum seekers or refugees or whatever they call them. Shows them sort of altercating, got their hoods up and shows them altercating with this kid. Right? So obviously, it's 2-1 for the start, right? So, this whole Psy Op is aimed to basically, weaken the white person, the white person in their own lands, the native British, and get them basically just capitulate against these immigrant people who's coming in, So it's a terrible Psy Op, one of the worst yet. Of course, like sympathy for the devil idea,
Ahmed was a 16-year-old child when he was brutally murdered in Huddersfield Town Centre in April this year. He'd come to Huddersfield and England for a better life. He was due to enrol at school and college, and he was looking forward to becoming a doctor.